Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in Game 1 between ATN's DarkForce versus ESC's Monchi here on Cloud Kingdom. Game 1 in a series, and alright, here we go. Apparently a little bit of a talk between these two players. DarkForce spawning as the red Zerg player here on the bottom left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Monchi spawning as the blue Protoss on the top right hand side. Zerg versus Protoss on Cloud Kingdom. We'll see what's going to go down in this series. Normally, this map, I would say, favors Protoss just a little bit more. That third base is a little bit difficult to take out, and if you guys remember, the map designer actually intended this to be the third base, not this over here. So that does, both of these locations are rather difficult in order to take your third base. This one is a little bit further away. However, Zerg players are able to lay down a creep tumor right off over here and essentially connect their first base, second base, and third base all together very, very quickly. We are going to see an Overlord now make his way out. If you guys don't know, Overlord movement speed is being upgraded or tested to be upgraded in the next patch, moving slightly faster in order to figure out and do a little bit of scouting early on in the game. Now, a little bit of an announcement. If you guys do not follow me on Facebook, make sure you do so, or follow me on Twitter. I will be casting next week at a LAN event in Green Forest Cafe in Ventura, California. If you guys are nearby, definitely come check me out or say hi. Also, I will be casting alongside some other casters, Gwen from Beyond Gaming and Check 6, and I will also be casting with Day 9. I believe that is the plan right now. Right now, I still need to get the schedule in order, but there are only a total of 3 casters, and I am one of them. So, hope to see you guys out there. Make sure to check out the stream. Also, make sure to follow me on Facebook, as we are going to see a hatchery now being placed down at the third base location by DarkForce. An interesting choice here, as you do see that there is a probe wandering back and forth. So, I like this play by DarkForce. I like this play by Monchi. What Monchi did was it made it look like he was just using a scouting drone, and then instead used the drone in order to establish a hatchery off over here. This third base is a little bit in the forward position. It is very difficult for Zerg players to defend, as stalker units can come in from here, rather a little bit of a choke point here, a couple force fields, and then roaches and zerglings come in a single file line, taking a lot of damage. We are going to be seeing that this Overlord is going to be getting into position now, and it will be able to just sit here for quite some time until a Colossus or any other air unit has been trained. Alright, moving into the next portion of the game, we are going into a Queen now. The Queen now transferring herself down over here to the low ground. Oh, another thing to note in the new patch. Queens will now start with 50 energy when they are spawned, not 25. Meaning that Queens are going to be able to get down a lot of creep tumors very, very quickly, since that first Queen will be able to spread creep and do an inject as well. So I believe that it may change a lot of the builds. Going spawning pool first for faster Queens may not be out of the ordinary any longer, since it does give you a little it does give you some of that map control, and always having creep tumors down for a Zerg, very, very nice. We're going to see another creep tumor being placed down here, an inject to come in rather shortly. DarkForce wants to make sure to get creep tumors on this ramp, and then to spread it across the center portion of the map here as a little bit of an early warning system, as drones are now being transferred over as well. So far, it is going to be a 3-base Zerg compared to a 2-base Protoss. Both sides just training up a lot of workers at this stage. And we'll see who comes out ahead. Both players constantly trying to hit their injects. It looks as though DarkForce is actually short one Queen, as he will need a Queen off over here. DarkForce may just train the Queen up here in just a moment, as we do see a proxy pylon set up on the bottom right hand side of the map. Alright, so Queen is in play. Queen just constantly getting injects off over here. Most likely will be doing the same here in just a moment, waiting for the inject. There you go. And we are training up that third Queen over here at this third base. Overlords are just scouting this out right now, as we are going now into a proxy Twilight Council, which doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're trying to hide your tech, into a proxy Dark Shrine. That is a little bit risky, I got to admit. a lot of the times I've seen Protoss players get their Twilight Council inside their base. It doesn't reveal too much. You don't know if they're going to go into a Dark Shrine. And then you can hide the Dark Shrine off perhaps over here. By hiding 2 key tech buildings, that may be an issue, especially now that this one probe is actually stuck. Alright, Monchi, I believe he is going to be very, very upset and realizing that that probe is stuck. He's not going to be able to run anywhere with this, as Zerglings are now backing away. We are going into a Dark Shrine being built in the main base off over here. Where is that Dark Shrine? The Dark Shrine is right next to that Cybernetics core. I do not believe DarkForce does spot it. No, he does not, as the Zerglings are now backing away. Creep tumor is now being spread along the north side here, as the Zealots have to be very, very careful. Zerglings and Queens now coming in. The Zerglings should be able to get a decent surround, yes, and able to just take down all of these Zealots. A very good surround because of creep presence, taking that down very, very quickly. The probe needs to get taken down next, followed most likely by this proxy pylon. Alright, Zealots are now coming in. Roach is going to try to engage. The Zealots do need to back off. Roaches need to back off as well, as the Zerglings are coming in as a reinforcement. Metabolic boost is still not even started at this point. Finally getting started, as we now see 14, 15 drones being trained. A very, very heavy route of drones. DarkForce does spot the Dark Shrine now, and this is absolutely huge. Getting up that evolution chamber, he's going to be going into getting into spore crawlers, I gotta believe, 1 at each base. We are also going into double robotics facility. Not quite sure what that's about. We could be going into 2 Colossi production, as we now see spore crawlers being added. 1 over here, 1 here as well, and perhaps 1 in the main base. So 3 spore crawlers quickly being trained up as the Dark Templars now try to make their way in. The spore crawler, oh, it is about 10 seconds away from being done. The Dark Templar is going to be able to surround this and shut it down very quickly. Down goes that, and the Dark Templar, the great equalizing unit for Zerg, or sorry, not for Zerg, for Protoss, able to get back into things. Overseer now flying overhead. Dark Templar may be able to finish off the Queen here. Yes, able to do so, as Roaches are now coming back over. The Overseers are in the air, keeping track, keeping sight, and the Dark Templars are all now down. But some Roaches and some drones were taken out here. Monchi still behind by about 25 supply, but was still able to deal a little bit of damage. We are now transitioning into double immortals, so double immortals now being trained to counter those roaches. This is going to be very interesting. I haven't seen double immortals in quite some time. No robotics bay, just immortals, and with these immortals being trained, this may actually be the perfect counter to the sheer number of roaches that we see. We don't see any mutalisks, so those immortals are going to be very, very effective. And the only thing that's really going to be able to stop them are either the Zerglings or perhaps Hydralisks if they come out, but Immortals are going to be able to tear through the majority of DarkForce's armies. So even though DarkForce does have a slight supply advantage, he is sitting on a lot of roaches, which is not very, very efficient in terms of overall food usage or supply usage. There is about a 30 supply difference between these two armies, but with so many roaches in play, even with level 1 weapons upgrade on those roaches or level 2, it's not going to help, especially as those immortals are going to be dealing 60 damage per attack. All right, we'll see what's going to happen here. It looks like the overlords were all backed away or shot down. One proxy pylon in the center portion of the map now getting destroyed. We are going to be going into tier 3, and I believe DarkForce should be able to transition away from this very nicely. It looks like Monchi is going to be losing this Zelnaga tower here, as all the units are going to regather themselves once more. Blink also being added, and now probes being transferred over here to that third base. We can see that there are some gateways already being placed out, a nice positioning on that photon cannon, as here we go. Roach is going to take down these destructible rocks. One observer in the air. Level 2 weapons upgrade about halfway done. No chrono boost on, no, now getting chrono boost on that, as the stalkers could make their way over. The overseer quickly spots the number of immortals and now has to be very careful. Here we go. There's an engagement. Some roaches getting caught on the wrong side. 2 roaches do go down at the cost of 4 force fields, and now he's going to try to once again test the front door instead. So roaches and immortals battling it up. The roaches, however, do move slightly faster, but this is buying time for Monchi to get level 2 weapons upgrade. The destructible rocks are now all destroyed, and where are they going to engage is the question. Spire now about to be completed. We could see Mutalisk, but it looks as though the robotics bay is coming out, so we could see Colossi. Protoss sitting on a good amount of gas right now, should be able to get 2 Colossi and train extended thermal lance range if he did decide to. Down over here, Zergling are going to spot the Twilight Council. Zealot charge should be upgraded, not quite sure why it isn't, and then perhaps also just warping in the Templar archives. That always works out very, very well. Getting the Templar archives and then the Twilight Council isn't really needed for much of anything else. So Protoss now only down by about 19 supply. You can see that there are still a fair amount of roaches, but we are going into the Greater Spire. Corruptors could be added, and the Broodlords are a perfect counter to these Immortals. There are Blink Stalkers, though, and the Blink Stalkers will have 3-0 weapon upgrades in just a little bit of time. This third base down over here by DarkForce trying to set up a fourth base. Now, will it be enough? Observer is keeping track of all these units as here we go. Zerglings quickly getting destroyed. Photon cannons now being added, and there is an Artosis pylon if I ever saw one. It was going to power some additional cannons, but no, not going to be the case any longer. 166 versus 188. Both players sitting on a fair amount or a fair cache of minerals and gas. We are going also into a Stargate. Void Rays would be a good counter to those Broodlords, as the Void Rays can attack, move, and just constantly attack at all of the air. We'll see what's going to happen here. Corruptors are being added, though, and the Corruptors may be a bit of a problem as well. Corruptors do deal extra damage to Massive, which it is important to note that Void Rays are not. Roaches now coming across the back door here. The Roaches are going to take a little bit of damage. Stalkers blinking in, able to take down 2 Roaches, perhaps even 3, as the Stalkers do back off. It is going to be 4 bases to 4 bases in just a moment. The Stalkers once again blinking forward. And wow, only a little bit of damage actually taken by Monchi. But this is going to allow DarkForce to free up some supply for some additional air units, perhaps some Broodlords. As we now see 1 Broodlord Cocoon in the air, but Monchi does have the supply advantage now and also has a larger cache of minerals and gas. In comes the large attack force. 1 Stalker in a really, really dangerous location there. It looks like it will get taken down by those Broodlords. Broodlords do not have any weapons upgrade, but the Zerglings have 1 upgrade, so do those Broodlings. As we now see an infested Terran used in order to take the Zelnaga Tower here. Broodlings now coming in. There's a fungal growth. A sentry may get taken down. Yes, it does get destroyed, as all the units do back off. This 1 set of Broodlings now taken down. All right, so far both of these players are sitting on their bases, and right now I'm not sure who has the advantage. Probes are being transferred. Main base pretty much nearly mined out already. Only 1 mineral patch here. DarkForce really overmining that location. Stalkers cleaning up some of these Zerglings here. 3-0 upgrades as we are now. Is that a 2nd Stargate perhaps? Rebuilding of the Twilight Council. It's in order to get the Templar archives. I believe that was a bit of a mistake not getting that earlier, as the Zerglings are going to fall. Proxy pylon looks like it will get taken down. Perhaps another expansion could be taken. This expansion has already been taken and established here, so it looks like it is going to be 5 bases to 4. And it's really up to Protoss to try to take this expansion, but there are creep tumors here as well. Zerglings now running in on the inside, able to get some easy shots here. We should perhaps see an observer make its way over in order to deal with all of these units. Photon cannons going to be added, should add some additional detection as well, as we are now going into some warp prism plays. Zerglings now going up the front door, and this could be huge. Zealots now trying to warp in. A warp prism now being added, as the Zealots battling up the Zerglings do not have enough armor to really tank against all of these Zealots here. We are going to see Zerglings still hiding off over here, as we now see another set of destructible rocks destroyed in the center. DarkForce doing a little bit of economic damage there. 15 workers killed versus 13. So far, things are looking very even, as Monchi now goes into a fleet beacon. Fleet beacon, carriers, or mothership will be arriving momentarily. We do see double Stargates, but I don't see any weapons upgrade coming in on that Cybernetics core. Without the level 1 weapons upgrade, those carriers are not going to be doing very much. They are one of those units that attack very quickly for a low amount of damage, and that's really when you need those weapons upgrade, especially against units that have high armor, such as Broodlords with 2 armor here. Even though Broodlords can attack back, they could tank a lot of that damage. and also those broodlings would take a lot of that damage. Massive number of spine crawlers over here at the 4th base. This is not going to fall. A good amount of spine crawlers here at the 5th base. So who will come out on top? Only 3 Colossi here. There are 4 Immortal Zealots now trying to make a move over here. Doesn't spot anything. And now we need to spot an observer in order to clean up all of these creep tumors. There is no hatchery over here on the bottom right as of yet. You can see 1 Zergling is blocking this expansion. What is going to be happening? A warp prism now making its way over, perhaps to do a bit of a warp in on the high ground here. And if it's able to execute a drop, that would be very, very nice. Zealots now cleaning up that bottom right-hand side. You can see that there is a whole bunch of spine crawlers and also a spore crawler and a queen. This warp prism now down to 35 hit points. Is it going to get destroyed? It should be, as I believe that 1 spore crawler is just within range. Roach is now on the high ground getting some easy kills, but will get killed in return. Meanwhile, back over here, photon cannon attempting to take down a pylon, or in a photon cannon, and a Roach now battling it out. It looks like the acid is hitting the pylon, but not actually landing on that photon cannon there. And the photon cannon does win in that battle. All right, here we go. That warp prism still hiding off. It's not going to really be able to do all too much. We now have 11 infestors on the field. These armies, even though the supply count is staying about the same, is just continuing to grow and grow. And now Zerg, with the Broodlords and the infestors, has the more expensive army. I don't see any High Templar. No, there are actually 10 High Templar on the field. Where exactly are they? The Mothership has arrived as well. So Overseers are going to be needed. There's the warp prism. Quickly gets shot down there. And destroyed. Archons now being merged. No Psy Storm being added. So Archons with level 3 weapons upgrade should be able to simply destroy a large number of these units. 47 damage. Our Mothership now on the move. We'll see where these units will try to travel. So many creep tumors, though, making it very, very difficult to actually spot anything. We are going to see some infestors now make their way over. The infestors are going to be dropping a lot of infested Terrans. There are a lot of photon cannons, though, and it looks as though I believe this Nexus may end up getting taken out. 1 photon cannon should get destroyed, as this is an Artosis pylon. It should get taken down as well. Meanwhile, in the center portion here, Archons now making a move. Where is that Mothership? The Mothership still staying in the center, not being utilized unless it is going to try to mass recall any sort of attack. So that could be the strategy. Monchi pushes into a base, engages, deals a lot of damage, takes shield damage, and then backs away with a very, very nice recall in order to save his army, and then rinse and repeat. Level 2 armor upgrades now coming in for the Zerg. I still don't see any Void Rays. This double Stargate, and I haven't seen a single air unit at all. 1 probe is going to get taken down off over here. Zealots are still hiding off over here, making sure that there is no expansion. And now you see that the Zerglings will all fall. Is there an observer nearby? Oh, the Mothership has now been revealed. I believe that Creep Tumor did spot it, as Zealots are now trying to make its way in. Zealots now getting poked apart by spine crawlers on the low ground. And still, the Zealots are going to try to run their way into this 3rd base. I believe there are simply too many spine crawlers, especially considering that there is no charge on those Zealots. All those units are going to get cleaned up. 1 spine crawler is going to be traded here. Queen now backing off. No, it looks like she will fall after hitting an inject, but everything else will fall down here in just a moment. So we have now 14 Broodlords, 13 Corruptors, as we are now going to be going into an engagement in the center portion of the map. Infested Terrans now coming in. We can see a hatchery or a Nexus now still warping in off over here. We need to get some more photon cannons in order to deal with all of these creep tumors and stop the creep tumor spread. Now, we do see, I believe that was an Overseer. Didn't get sight of it all too well. Overseer, as now we are going into level 2 weapons or level 1 weapons and armor upgrades. More Zealots still being warped in. Perhaps it will get cleaned up. Still has a warp prism here. This game, no one really wants to engage each other yet. We could go for possibly an Archon toilet, as spine crawlers are now massing themselves way into the center. How many spine crawlers is that? That is a lot of spine crawlers. In come some Corruptors as well. Massive army of Broodlords, but they do move very, very slowly, and the infestors were not there to slow them down. All right, here we go. Monchi does have his Nexus up and running over here on the top left-hand side, but it may end up falling. DarkForce moving his static defense, essentially, and now will be engaging up against this center location. One of the greatest things about Zerg is that they have mobile static defense that doesn't cost supply. If you heard that a unit has 25 damage, 30 versus armored, 2 armor base, and also has 300 hit points, that is a very strong unit. As you can see here, this Nexus quickly falling in a matter of seconds with spine crawler support. And now these spine crawlers could just uproot themselves and move along over here as well. So things are not going well for Monchi. Monchi does have a lot of resources banked, 15,000 resources. And army compositions still shows that DarkForce has the much larger army and also has a similar amount of workers. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Level 2 weapons upgrade, level 3 Zerg carapace attack. Those broodlords are going to be very durable with a base 4 armor, not going to get shot down by those stalkers all too easily. All right. Archons and probes now doing a little bit of long distance mining. We'll see how effective it will be. It looks as though this base could be reestablished in just a moment, but DarkForce with such a large attacking force simply buying his time. Infestors nearly maxed out on energy. Broodlords nearly fully upgraded. Just needs level 3 weapons upgrade, as we are now going into even more Broodlords. We are going to have 21 Broodlords on the field, and I don't know how Monchi's gonna stop this. Psystorm, perhaps the Queens could even be brought into the field in order to get some transfusions off, as they don't really need to hit any more injects. Sitting on 97 larvae. 97 larvae, that is almost 200 Zerglings if 100 supply was instantaneously lost. Spine crawlers now up on the high ground, just poking away. Here comes an engagement. Stalkers, Broodlords, this is not the place where Monchi wants to hit. There are too many spine crawlers, too many Broodlords. Broodlings still getting in some free damage once more, as this game looks very good for DarkForce. DarkForce has a little bit less in the bank, but he has a lot more units on the field. 19,000 in terms of total resources, but we are going to see Monchi now get up 12 additional gateways. All right, with 12 additional gateways, he will be able to actually replenish his army faster. 12 gateways, I'm not quite sure how many 20 gateways in total. So that means that he can instantly train 40 supply, or in 5 seconds train 40 supply worth of units, and constantly do it. So we'll see who can come on top. These spine crawlers are going to buy a lot of time for DarkForce, though, as the bottom right hatchery now going to be established. We should have a very large engagement. Probes now just suiciding their way in, as the probes are just trying to deal some damage here. All of these probes are going to fall. We are now going into 3-3 upgrades, and with 20 some odd. Okay, so what is this going to be? It's 24 workers versus 50. More workers are going to get destroyed here. So all of these workers are getting killed. 68 workers killed. And now we're going to have a large engagement off over here. No, the units are all backing away once again. Why even establish this nexus if you're not going to really utilize it? All right, so here we go. Observer finally making its way out. We see 7,000 or 8,000 resources total in the bank. Infested Terrans trading energy for damage on buildings. Once again, beautifully done. And where are all of these units going to travel to and go? All of these changelings will get taken down. There they go, all destroyed. And still the infested Terrans doing a great job. It looks as though, yes, they are going to destroy this one nexus here very easily. So down goes that nexus to a dozen or so infested Terrans. And now all this mothership can really do is perhaps hope to attack and get off a very good Archon toilet. If that Archon toilet hits just right, all of those Broodlords are going to be stacked up right on top of each other, and this may be it. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Army compositions, wow. 20,000 versus 18,000, both sides. Workers only 10 versus 44, 99 larvae. And with 23 warp gates, that means an almost a training of 50 supply nearly instantaneously. All right, here we go. Stalkers are going to try to engage. All of these spine crawlers are going to fall here in just a moment. The Broodlords, the Infestors, now trying to make their way over. The Broodlord army is much slower to react. Now backing away again. Where is this mothership hoping to go as the units are now looking to regather in the center? This is an engagement where no one wants to attack, as they know whoever gets caught out of position will simply fall apart. Archons now making their way back around. The Archons are fully upgraded, or nearly fully upgraded. Now going to get level 3 armor. Level 3 shields would perhaps be the better choice at this point, as the infested Terrans used in order to hold that center Zelnaga tower. Oh, beautifully done. In comes a couple fungal growths, stopping Stalkers and Archons from moving. That fungal growth, that Archon pretty much is not going to stand a chance. It did get a lot of kills, but mostly on Broodlings. And what is going to happen next? Mothership still flying around. And at this point, Monchi or DarkForce doesn't even really need Overseers, as the Overseers would, as the fungal growth and the sheer mass number of fungal growth might just be enough. We're going to see the mothership now make its way over here in just a moment, taking down multiple spine crawlers. So one spine crawler going to get taken down here in just a second. Down it goes. Another spine crawler could get taken down. All the Broodlords now making their way off to the north. What's going to happen here? Stalkers are going to try to engage. All these spine crawlers will be gone by the time these armies do engage. And who's going to come out on top? The mothership arrives just in time. Queen's now laying down more creep tumors, and still no engagement by any of these two armies. Templar Archives has been hidden here, and there is a mothership now getting taken, and now going to be cloaking all of the other units. This one, Templar Archives, will get taken down. The mothership, it may go out of range. Another vortex being used, and beautiful play by DarkForce to make sure that no more energy is on that mothership. Without any energy on that mothership, no Archon toilet is possible, and I believe any hope that Monchi had is going to go out the window. Archons now need to push their way down. There are simply just too many units here. Mass Broodlords, 164 versus 183. There it goes. Down it goes. Archons now trying to push their way in. Archons could just focus down the Broodlords, but I believe that is just going to be the GG, as DarkForce takes game 1 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.